Since about 10 or 15 years ago, about half the journalists in America have lost their jobs. The industry has just disintegrated. And it is not because of a lack of readers. This is relevant to books too, I think. It is not because of the lack of readers. In the case of newspapers, it's because of the collapse of advertising revenue. People read what we do as much as ever. They just don't pay for it. And the advertisers are no longer paying for it. We have this huge room at the Globe, now used for some kind of new media thing. I'm never sure what they're doing in there. It used to be our classified ad department. It used to be wall to wall with like 2 or 3 dozen people who are just sitting there all day taking classified ads. Those younger people may not even remember what those were. Those little tiny little advertisements for selling your car or whatever. Those tiny little things used to bring in a third of the revenue at the Boston Globe and really at most newspapers. That money is gone. It will never come back. It is a perfect example of a technology coming along that just completely vaporizes whole industries. And I don't know that there will ever be a model that will bring in the kinds of money that the previous business models brought in. And that's worrisome. Television, oh, that's a great example right there because I don't think cable is going to die. That's the point. Newspapers aren't going to die. They're just going to diminish. Cable isn't going to die, but you can see it starting to diminish. And how that's going to, there are going to be all these negative downsides. A lot of people are pointing out that you're seeing a decay in the quality of journalism because you do not have large news organizations with the money to just turn people loose on important stories and say, spend 6 months researching this. Back when the Boston Globe was breaking these stories about the Catholic Church scandal, there was still enough advertising revenue coming in that you could have this group of journalists and say, spend the next 3 or 4 months just working on this. And if you don't have that, it's going to be harder for people to get that kind of social benefit out of journalism. You're going to have fewer books also, unless you are, for example, a really successful best-selling author, or unless you work in the academic world, it's very hard. And that means we are going to miss out on a lot of good writing and good journalism. But I think in the long run, it'll get done. And even if it gets done, and that's the other problem, though. Even if it gets done, how do you find it? How do you find out about it? How do you find it when so much of it is being self-published now by people on Amazon or other self-publishing platforms? How do you know what's worth looking at? But that's the world we now live in. And the upside is there is still more room with institutions like Amazon for people who want to publish independently.
Thank you for listening. Please review our other available content for help writing, publishing, and marketing your book. If you have any questions about the Author Learning Center, please contact us by email at authorsupport@authorlearningcenter.com.